everybody. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking, today it is Freaky Friday. So today we are going to be watching some creepy horror stuff, and I'm actually recording, it's almost 9 o'clock. It's almost spooky hour. Well, not really spooky hours, I guess it's 3 a.m., but every hour for me is spooky hour. But I got some great stuff lined up for us today. So if you guys have your snacks, you have your drinks, and you're ready to get into this with me, then hold on tight, because here we go. Okay, just a reminder, none of this stuff is mine. This is all by other creators. None of this is mine whatsoever. The first one is called Two Uncanny School Lockdown Horror Stories Animated, and it's by MJV Animations. So here we go.
It started out like any other day at school. Mr. Breach was teaching us geometry, pointing to various shapes on the overhead projector, while kids whispered in the back and a few caught up on sleep. It was dark in the classroom, except for the glow from the projector, and the shades were drawn to block the glare from outside.
Nice. That looks like a very big school. Ugh, not math. I don't miss math at all.
So I got up from my seat and went over to the window. I pulled the cord, raising the...
There's gonna be a face. There's gonna be a face.
Went up, it revealed a glassy-eyed, human-sized dog face.
Is that Pluto?
On the other side of the window.
That's Pluto.
Screamed, not understanding what I was looking at. The oversized, frozen eyes made no sense. The teacher ran over and grabbed my shoulders, trying to calm me down.
There was nothing there.
What is it? Mr. Breach asked, looking worried.
He does not look worried.
And saw the thing outside was gone.
Is that scratch marks?
Outside. It was... I tried to think of how to explain the face I had just seen. What was
You just explained it to us.
The whole class was looking at me expectantly.
Why does the whole class look drugged out?
I couldn't tell them. It would sound ridiculous.
But you just told us.
Nothing. It was nothing.
It was Pluto.
He looked angry.
Look, now he's mad.
My seat, and not to disrupt his class any further. I obliged, giving the window one last worried glance. I didn't.
Is that not scratches?
Not until
or is
a
that
couple hours
supposed to be the
later.
glare?
And by then, it was...
Oh, that's like a 4-story building.
There were odd rumors circulating around the schoolyard at recess, saying that something had happened near the local Disney park. Some sort of outbreak. Whether it was caused by a terrorist attack or an accident at a nearby chemical factory, nobody was totally sure. The news was reporting people getting sick, acting strangely, and then biting.
Oh, so this is like the apocalypse, right?
And biting people too.
Okay.
Zombies. But that was...
They are
impossible.
zombies.
I told myself it had to be a prank or a mistake. Maybe it was a viral marketing strategy for an upcoming Walking Dead
Maybe
movie,
it's...
another spin.
No.
Despite the reports, we were allowed outside for recess. Nobody thought there was any real danger to the public outside of the nearby Disneyland park at that point.
Okay, I get that, but like you still should stay in.
Whatever it was, it was...
Whatever it was.
I was with a few friends in the field, tossing around a football during recess when I saw a figure standing in the trees.
It's Pluto.
Yards away. He was
It's Pluto, guys. I love Pluto.
I couldn't tell much about him, but he looked strange.
Pluto will never be scary
The
to me.
outline of him didn't look
Hot
human.
dog. Bum, bum, bum.
I asked my friend Dave.
Bum. I'm gonna get
He looked like he
copyrighted for
was
that.
pointing, and as he did, the figure ducked behind the trees with a quick sidestep, disappearing behind the trunk of a large oak tree.
One nest of noodles
What?
is...
I don't see anything, Dave said.
I'm just doing a quick video.
Your throw.
Okay.
What's up with you today, man? You're acting so weird. I tried to explain to him that I had seen someone, but he wasn't listening. Just walking back to a distance so I could throw the football to him. After a few seconds, I did, but then I took another worried glance back at those trees.
Pluto. Maybe Pluto just wants a friend.
But I could have sworn the silhouette I'd seen looked like...
Pluto.
It couldn't have been.
Pluto.
I shook my head and told myself I was imagining things. After recess, we had English class, and I was seated beside the window again. My eyes kept drifting outside and towards that tree line, where I saw
Oh,
figures
is the zombies coming?
moving
Is
towards
Pluto
school.
the leader of the
But I
zombies?
couldn't say anything. Frozen with fear, I sat there watching them as Mrs. Blackwood talked about Shakespeare. And eventually, I began to tremble and shake violently as I saw them approach the school. Finally, the sound of window glass breaking in an adjacent classroom broke me from my stupor, and I screamed, pointing outside at the growing horde.
This is my supper.
But by then, it was too late. Others were inside. The PA came on announcing a school-wide lockdown, telling students to hide under their desks and teachers to lock their doors. Mrs. Blackwood went to do that, and just
Oh,
as
they
she was
came in.
about to shut the door burst open, and several Disneyland mascots trampled into the room.
So it was
Their
Pluto.
mouths soaked red with blood. Their white
Or
gloved
ketchup.
hands were covered in viscera and chunks of organs, and Mickey and Goofball were making rageful, hungry-sounding grunts and groans. "Mickey!" One ill-guided girl yelled, jumping from her chair, either not seeing the blood or not caring. Instead, only wanting a hug from her favorite cartoon character. "Macy, no!" The teacher screamed and pushed the girl out of the way. She got between them, and a second later, Mrs. Blackwood was being pulled out of the room by her hair by Goofy and Mickey. They were both fighting over who would get to eat her first. More Disneyland employees could be seen outside, not just mascots, but ticket takers.
I'd be happy
and
if they came to
concession
visit
stand
me.
workers. I saw a pimple-faced kid climbing in through the broken window. His hands getting
Isn't the
sliced
building
into
like
pieces
4
by shards
stories
of
high?
glass, but he seemed
Unless
not to
he's
notice.
Spider-Man, how did he get up there?
He reached out his blood-soaked arms and began to race towards Dave and I, and the two of us ducked out of reach just in time, crawling beneath our desks and out into the hallway. Once we got out into the hall,
I didn't think
we saw
zombies could
Mrs.
run.
Blackwood being eaten by Mickey Mouse and Goofy. They were on their hands and knees, cramming raw, bloody meat into their mouths. Mrs. Blackwood wasn't even dead yet. She screamed as they ate her piece by piece. Dave reached out as if to pull her away from them, but I knew it was hopeless. She was a goner. "Get in here!" Mr. Breach shouted from the classroom at the end of the hall. Dave and I ran away from the zombie-themed park workers and towards our teacher. I remembered before recess seeing the face outside the window of his class. What felt like a million years ago by now. It had made no sense at the
It's
time.
gross.
Now I understood. The glassy-eyed, oversized dog face looking through the window. It was
They really don't want to say Pluto,
He'd been
huh?
lying in wait for quite a while, building up a hunger for human flesh, building up the nerve to attack. Mrs. Blackwood screamed from down the hall, begging for mercy, but the Disneyland workers kept gorging. That should keep him busy for a while, Mr. Breach said, pushing us into the classroom and blocking the door with a chair. "What are you doing?"
Now I'm
I asked.
paranoid.
"We need to get out of here. We need to run." Mr. Breach opened his laptop and turned on the news, showing us images of our city. Zombies were everywhere. It had all happened so fast. Hunker down, boys. This handful of zombies we're looking at is nothing compared to what's out there.
Is this how
Looks like
The
it'll
Last
be
of Us
extended detention
began?
for both of you.
Okay, so the next one is called 2 Disney Horror Stories Animated. Also by MJV Animations.
From the very first day I began working at Disneyland, one thing was made clear to me. No one is allowed to die at Disneyland. Not now, not ever. It was against park rules. How was that possible?
Did you know there were actually people who already died at Disney though? Like from an accident that happened. I forget what it was about, but I love watching like those videos about like accidents and stuff occurring. It's interesting.
Asked the park manager.
Scary and
Sitting
sad,
behind his
but
desk.
you gotta
We were in
learn.
his office, and I had just finished signing a mountain of paperwork.
A
Contract
mountain of paperwork. You mean a mountain of hashtags, right?
written in legalese that I barely understood a word of. That's just part of the magic.
Barely understood a word. Of course you can't understand a word. Not with
If
that.
someone died within our walls, well, that would taint the
They did.
reputation of the park. So why keep any participants involved in any unfortunate and entirely unpreventable mishaps? Under
That's so
strict care, ensuring their livability until they can reach the nearest hospital.
livability.
So I see you have your CPR certification. That's good. You're going to be a valuable team member one day. But we all have to start at the bottom of the pile. And that was how I wound up overheating in a bright pink butterfly costume on a 100-degree day in August.
That is not a butterfly.
Well, bringing the overall temperature up even.
It's like a mix between a worm and a moth. And some other creepy creature.
I felt like I was suffocating inside the giant furry pink butterfly costume I'd been given to wear.
Party, party, can I take a picture with you?
Party, party. That is not that little girl's voice.
You're my favorite. I want to be a butterfly when I grow up one day.
I wanna be a dragonfly.
Enormous fake head. It barely breathed. This was torture. Where were the Geneva Conventions? I was dying in this suit. You can have a picture with me, little girl. Come and give Purdy a hug, I exclaimed in my best falsetto butterfly voice. I think I might have momentarily passed out after that, since I was face down on the pavement when I opened my eyes again. The girl's parents looked alarmed, as did the child. They immediately grabbed her hand and yanked her away from them. Are you drunk? The mother asked. The two of them stormed off and cast angry looks over their shoulder, marching towards the management office. You know it's really hot out here, right? You guys get to wear shorts. I'm wrapped up in a pink fur coat over here. I was worried for about 30 seconds, then realized I no longer cared about this job. That's it, I muttered, reaching
Is this
to
his
pull the
first
enormous
day?
furry head off
Oh,
my
it's not
skull.
gonna come off, is
I
it?
can't take this anymore. My sweat slick
It's not
hair
gonna
was
come off.
sticky, and the fabric clung to it, preventing me from pulling the fake head off of the costume. I tugged and heaved on it, but was unable to get it off. I tried twisting it and wiggling it up and down, but my skull remained trapped within it, and I was becoming
Your
more
skull?
panicky by the second. Now, the heat was becoming overbearing. Help! I started to scream. Help! I can't get it off! Help! My cries for help only made matters worse, filling the suit with the hot, humid air from my lungs. The last thing I remembered seeing was the paramedics, running towards me as I swooned and collapsed on the pavement. When I woke up, I was in a dark, cavernous room,
This has definitely happened
and I was thankful for that.
several times before.
But I was still in the costume. I couldn't believe it. I stood up and looked around, trying to see where I was through the foggy lens of vision provided through the mouth of the giant butterfly costume. Suddenly, I shivered involuntarily, feeling very cold. It wasn't just cool in this room, it was freezing. Nobody dies at Disneyland. I remember my boss saying from behind his desk, we keep them under strict medical care, ensuring their livability until they can reach the nearest hospital. I had heard rumors of what he'd meant, what he'd so coyly avoided saying. The unverified reports from people who had worked at Disneyland told tales of dark practices being employed to keep visitors alive while within the park walls.
Oh my
Things
god.
I didn't believe at first. There were stories of staff doing CPR on dead bodies with no heads.
Do you live in Canada? Then quit your job. You don't need it anymore. Thousands of people around
Performing life-extending procedures like defibrillation on mangled corpses, well past the obvious point of expiration, all just to say that the time of death and place of death were somewhere else. None of these rumors had been verified. There was just one explanation for how such an old park with so many visitors could have 0 deaths over all these years.
They
Just didn't
didn't.
add up until
They
this
had
moment.
deaths.
I looked around and saw there were hundreds of people.
Okay, but
laying
why
on
would they put
tables
him in
all
there?
around me.
Like he's an
Full
employee.
stainless steel surfaces. covered every inch of the room, and each table had a body on it, covered with a white sheet. The sound of steam and pressure could be heard coming up from above, and I looked to see there was a vent near the ceiling, letting in a cloud of purple gas.
Oh.
That gas worried me. It didn't look natural, and I had a feeling it was
Does
not.
any gas look natural besides
As a
our own
purple
human
cloud
gas?
settled in the air all around me, I saw movement.
Oh
twitching
my
of
god.
bodies beneath the
Yes, and the
sheets.
bodies come back to life and
Began to
another
writhe and
apocalypse
moan as
happens.
they rolled around. The air became filled with the rank odor of chemicals, and I started coughing violently as I was forced to breathe in the gas. It grew worse and worse, like an infection spreading inside of me as I fell back onto the hard steel table and started seizing. I woke up on the floor, and I'm sure that I was still dreaming when I opened my eyes. I had to be asleep, and this had to be a nightmare, because standing all around me were corpses, blinking their milky white
Maybe
eyes
he
as they
maybe
stared
he
at
already
me
died.
with dead faces. A man in a vendor's outfit was missing his jaw. A woman wearing a fanny pack was bleeding from the eyes. Her skull split open on one side, revealing her brain matter. There was a horribly burnt man in a chef uniform, his hands and face red and peeling.
Make way,
Said a deep, booming
He's
voice.
I bet you he died from the
Zombies
heat.
began to step aside, letting through a tall man in a gray custodian's uniform.
Give him some breathing room, guys. Try to remember how you felt when you woke up down here.
He helped me to my feet.
You okay?
He asked. I don't know. I think so,
Good.
he said, and handed me a broom.
All right, everyone. Let's get moving. This park isn't gonna clean itself.
Someone pushed me from behind, and I found myself marching in a procession as we ambled out into the park. It was dark outside, and the place was closed. I was beginning to understand the purpose
What
of
is
the zombies
happening?
and what my purpose was going to be, now that I was part of their ranks. Hey, I think there's been a mistake, I told the custodian, who appeared to be in charge. I'm not dead. I got heat stroke and passed out, that's all. The custodian came over to me and looked closely at my face, inspecting me through the mask.
Interesting. Well, maybe you weren't dead initially, but that gas sure did the job. Nasty stuff. Keeps the dead moving, but you really don't want to be exposed if you're still living and breathing. It's certainly not FDA approved. Sorry to break it to you, kid, but you're one of us now.
I dropped the broom and fell to the pavement with a clatter. Then
Disney.
my knees gave out, and I had to sit down. Dead? Are you sure? Felt so surreal, and it was all the worse since I was still stuck in the damn butterfly costume. I couldn't even have dignity in death,
I'm positive,
said the custodian.
but don't worry. You're part of our team now, and that means you can work your way up as time goes on.
He picked up the broom.
Work your way
and
up as
handed it to
what?
me again.
But we all gotta start at the bottom of the pile.
It's
Wow.
everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing until this happens.
Well, I figured he was dead. But
My brother is not
I
the
don't
same
know.
anymore. This Halloween, our uncle took us to Disneyland. He drove us there and went to get tickets while my brother and I waited.
you know, it's crazy though how much damage heat stroke can do. When I used to work outside at like a park, it was not always the proper protocols, and we'd be in the heat for hours on hours, 8 hours or more, with no breaks sometimes. And it'd be very chaotic. And on days that it was like 40 degrees or even 30, like I don't always do that good in heat. So when it was burning hot those days, I was really affected. Like there was some days I actually did pass out or threw up my lunch or both. But yeah, heat stroke is no joke. Like even despite the amount of water I drink at work, it's still one of those things you have to be cautious for.
It was our first time in Disneyland during Halloween, and I swear the place looked completely different. Disneyland was exploding with Halloween decorations, including fall colors of yellow and orange.
I want to go to Canada's
pumpkins
Wonderland
plenty,
for Halloween.
especially on Main
I've only
Street.
ever gone during the
We
summer
passed by the
twice.
Disney character pumpkins as we entered the park. A stroll down Main Street let us find hundreds of hand-carved pumpkins in the shape of Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Goofy, and Pluto. Chip and Dale was there to greet the guests in their Halloween costumes. My brothers screamed in joy, and I too thanked our uncle for bringing us here. After trying as many rides as we could,
I went to
we stopped
Disney
for
once. My uncle
It
and
was
aunt
dark by
brought me and my
then,
mom
and the
down.
Halloween
It's pretty
decorations
cool, but I don't
were
remember
up
that much.
and looked even more dreamy. Look, the Haunted Mansion. My brother pointed at
The Haunted
huge
Mansion was so
Halloween
cool as a kid. I really thought it
mansion.
was so real.
The mansion was
I
converted.
mean, I thought everything
into
was
Tim
real.
Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's when I noticed the
Oh,
tall,
no.
skinny man dressed as Jack.
Okay. So many people love that movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I can't watch it. I don't know if it's because I watched it too young and it stayed traumatized in my head, but especially the boogeyman. I can't with that movie. It creeps me out so much. All my friends love it, but I can't. I
I was
don't.
calling out kids to give them free skeleton face makeup. There was this small enclosure where only one could go in at a time with him. For
That's
some
weird.
reason, I didn't like him. His eyes were weirdly big with red veins popping out. My uncle said we could go inside and he'd be waiting for us outside. My brother and I were walking to the mansion when suddenly the man approached us. I'm a master of fright and a demon of light, and I'll scare you out of your
Why are you moving
clothes."
like that?
He did some
Keep going.
weird dance while saying this. My brother laughed, but it didn't seem funny to me. So
It's
you're
creepy.
Jack Skellington, huh? My brother said, mocking him. We were old enough to know that he was just some random dude playing the role, but it felt
No, he's
odd
Jack
to hear
Evil.
The man continued pretending that he was indeed Jack Skellington, straight out of the movie screen. He replied with fake joy. That's right, I am the Pumpkin King. How about a free face paint? Want to look cool like me? Now there was no way I was going to paint my face as some bizarre-looking Disney character. So I grabbed my brother's hand, saying, "No thanks. We're gonna go check out the Haunted Mansion." My brother has always been this whimsical kid who barely thought before acting out. So instead of going into the mansion, he let go of my
Oh
hand
my
and said,
god.
"Sure, I want a face
Let
paint."
go of your hand, but you're the one that.
Turned
I'm sorry.
around to look for my uncle and saw him far away talking to some blonde woman wearing tight clothes. I couldn't leave my
Tight
brother and
clothes?
uncle, and the place was so
Tight
loud.
clothes? Is that
Yet
necessary?
no one
Tight
was
clothes?
either. The
No,
man
she wasn't
raised his
wearing
hand
baggy clothes.
and said, "Well, come with me then." My brother followed him without hesitating for a second. I reluctantly went along. We were right in front of the enclosure when the man stopped me, saying,
And said only
"One boy at a
one can.
time. Wait here, and I'll give your brother a new face." The way he said that gave me chills. I could sense something wasn't right, but I was just a kid, and there was nothing I could do to stop my brother from going into that stall. I had no idea.
Throw him
what
on your
was
back
inside
and
the
run.
stall, but when my brother came out, his face was different. He looked so weird with the Jack Skellington makeup. He was staring at me like a zombie. No expression, no blinking, just a dead glassy stare. When my brother and I went back to my uncle was so surprised. "Boy, you look exactly like that Disney character. Even the smile is the
Terrifying.
same," my uncle said. That's when I noticed. He was right. Even though the man in the Disneyland costume gave me the creeps, he was a talented makeup artist. The smile on my brother's face was so well drawn that he looked morbidly happy, just like the movie character. When we got home, our parents laughed and joked about his face, but he still didn't answer. That night, he didn't even come down for dinner.
I wonder if his mouth is
He
shut.
went to his room and locked himself in. The next day, he missed school. I
my
went to
God.
his room and I tried to wake him up, but I saw him sitting in front of the mirror, staring at his face. The
Katie's with us in Dallas, Texas. How can we help?
I'm
That's creepy.
$27,000 in credit card debt. I had $10 left a day.
Makeup was still on. Hey,
I wonder if his
she
mouth is
washed
like
it off
sewn
her
shut or
face,
something.
because now things were getting really weird. He slowly turned his head towards
Oh,
me and tilted his neck to the left and stared. What the hell is wrong with you? I yelled, getting all creeped out by his behavior. But he got up and went to the bathroom. Minutes went by, and he still didn't come out. I was getting worried. I called out for my parents, and they came into his room. We all started banging on the bathroom door. After 5 minutes, he opened the door, and he still hadn't washed his face. My mom got furious with his behavior, and she yelled at him, "Wash your face right now." My brother nodded his head from left to right. "Wash it, or I will. I'm telling you for the last time," she said in anger. My brother didn't say
he's
a
gonna say,
single word.
oh,
My mom went in, grabbed my brother by the neck, and started splashing water on his
it's not gonna
face
come
in the
off.
sink. What happened next made my blood cold. As soon as the paint came off, we faced a horrible truth. The smile, which we all thought was drawn on my brother, wasn't a smile. His face was sewn with a needle in
What did I say?
to give
I
the
think we knew.
impression of a Jack Skellington smile. I screamed seeing my brother like that. My mom started sobbing, and my dad immediately called the paramedics. We took him to the hospital and found out that he was drugged, which was why he had no idea what happened to him. The doctors cut off his stitches and put him under observation for 3 days. The sewn marks were still on his face, and the doctors said that they would go away with time. We went back to Disneyland Resort looking for the guy dressed as Jack Skellington, but they told us that no guy worked there during Halloween as Jack Skellington.
Don't they usually have a ton more security though? Like, there's no way you could just get away with that so easily because there's always so much security around. Like, they're never not there, you know? Like, I swear they're everywhere. So the next one is called Just Beyond the Golden Arches by Meat Canyon. And this is the last one for today's episode.
You look cute when you eat those fries.
Hey, it's me.
Go ahead. Get a taste of that Big Mac. It's really good. Come on in. The water's just fine.
The water.
Oh, come on. I won't bite. At least not that hard.
He definitely bites.
You still haven't tried your Big Mac. Something wrong?
There's no ketchup.
I'd hate to see you go home hungry.
There's no ketchup. I always have my stuff with
Our
ketchup.
bathrooms are very clean. You look like you have to take a tinkle.
I have to take a tinkle.
You look like you have to take a tinkle.
Which one of y'all have to take a tinkle?
You look like you have to take a tinkle.
Honestly, he's not wrong.
Take a couple trips.
I could honestly go right now. No
I
joke.
got a 93 Toyota Paseo in the parking lot. Let's get out of here.
Okay,
I
Clowny.
used to like Logic. You know, the rapper. Yeah, but the Needle Drop reviews him so poorly. I just don't really care for his music now.
Honestly, the clown would really creep me out growing up. But this dude's nice. This dude's nice. This is the first reliable guy I've met. Look at him. He's taking me out on a date already. Like, come on.
Well, this is my pad. It ain't much, but I certainly call it home. You look pretty thirsty. Here, have some water. Here you go, sweetie.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure that's water, because the sink never ran. But that's okay, I'm sure that's... Oh, he's putting us in his basement. Is it because we didn't eat the Big Mac?
I just don't know why you didn't try the Big Mac. Was it me? Don't you want to know how succulent it can taste? How beautiful life can really be?
No.
Don't be afraid. When you come to your senses, I'll bring you back up. Be easy with him now. We really need him to try this Big Mac.
Wow. I forget what that thing's called. But why does it kind of look like a purple turd? You can't tell me that does not look like a purple turd. Look at it. We just pause on that face. Look at that. That is a turd. That is a purple turd. The question still lies. Did we get to eat the Big Mac and then leave? Can we just, like, go back to...
You look like you have to take a tinkle. Go on. You look like you have to take a tinkle. Go
You
on.
look like you have to take a tinkle. I love that. That is amazing. That is absolutely perfect. That's what that is. That is perfection. Well, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of Freaky Friday. I do hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. It always helps out the channel a lot. I know I have not been posting consistently. I've been a little behind on content, but I'm getting there. I am getting there. I'm working on it. I have a dressage test on Saturday, so I'm kind of working through that right now. So I've been practicing for that, so we'll see how that goes. I'll probably vlog that though and get that up on Monday, I'd say. Yeah, I'd say I'd probably get it up Monday. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I shall see you next time. Bye for now.